I'm with Mark Croxford. Mark is the lead candidate for Your Community Candidates seeking election this year at Kiama Council elections. Mark, tell us about yourself and some background of your involvement in the Kiama community and why you are standing for election as our representative on council.
Thanks, Mark. I'm a 59-year-old semi-retired public and corporate affairs consultant. I have a very long and strong history in government in all three levels of government, federal, state and local, which I'll expand on. But when I moved to Kiama, I very quickly got involved within the community organisations. I'm an immediate past president of the Kiama High School Parents and Citizens Association. I'm a former chair of the Combined Community Advocacy Group. In fact, I was instrumental in changing the name of the Combined Community Action Group, which was seen to be a little bit protagonistic, to Advocacy Group. As well as that, I was the chair of the North Precinct. North Precinct had been dormant for a while. I was asked to breathe a bit of life into it. We gave it a good shot, but there is not as much interest in, say, North Precinct as perhaps what there is in Central Precinct. So now, on agreement with Council and with Central Precinct, we dissolved North Precinct and it has now been rolled into the Central Precinct activities. So it's no secret that I have a background in politics. Yes, I am a member of the Liberal Party. Yes, I am on the Board of Directors, or the Board of Directors equivalent of the New South Wales Liberal Party. I sit as an elected member on the state executive, but that's not to do with the politics of the party. It's to do with the governance of the party. It's to do with the strategic direction of the party. It's to do with the finance. So anyone suggesting that I'm a Liberal Party stooge, well, they can say that, but that would just be wrong. I'm running for council because I want to be a part of a team that is the ears and the voice for the community on council. We hear far too much criticism that this council, or successive council, does not listen and does not act in the best interests of the majority of the community. Well, I'd like to be part of the team that changes that and to drive that change to make it more responsible to the broader community, not just to special interest active groups, the vocal minority. We need to look after the silent majority. There is quite a lot of people here who don't say a lot, but they want things done.
One of the biggest issues for the Kiama local government area is the tension between urban development and economic growth versus the preservation of green space and the character and heritage of Kiama. Where do you think the balance should be struck on this issue?
Well, I think the word balanced is right. We need balanced and we need sensible development. Now, you and I worked very closely on the recent South Kiama planning proposal, where we're successful in gaining a meeting with the Minister and getting a pause put on the planning proposal so that they can consider the interpretation of the word strategic merit. Because Council had one interpretation of it and they ruled against it, and a bureaucrat who did nothing more than a two-dimensional desktop assessment on a piece of paper decided that their strategic merit was more worthy than our councils and our communities. So what we need to do is find the right sort of balance that preserves what it is our community is looking for. We need to conserve the environment. We need to conserve or to get the balance right on the sustainability. Of course, we have to recognise that there will be growth, but we don't want growth of, say, a Gold Coast type scale here in Kiama. Kiama is a beautiful location and we want to preserve it as a beautiful location, but we need to recognise that if we are to do it, we need to do it in the best interests of all of the community, not just in a few. So again, it comes down to balance. I see, as part of that balance, we need sensible and clearly understood and not complicated planning guidelines. One of the big issues that I hear as I'm going around on the campaign trail from both residents, ratepayers, and also business owners is how confusing and confounding and complex the development application process is. Well, we have to make that work in a friendlier way for anyone and everyone who wants to be involved. It should not be a disincentive to get things done, but at the same time, it should be there to protect the broader interests of the community. We also need to plan for the future. Now, with Bombo Quarry, 116 hectares or thereabouts, it's about the size of Gainsborough. It is an enormous blank canvas for future housing, for commercial and industrial growth, and of course for employment opportunities, not just for current people in the Kiama local government area, but for those that will come to Kiama and the kids that are growing up here. We want them to live, work and play within the LGA.
Thanks, Mark. What are the two issues that you would address as a priority if you were to be elected?
The two issues would be a balanced budget and lifestyle and livability. Now, with the balanced budget, we need to make sure that we keep downward pressure on rates. Our rates are high, but for what we get, for the rates that we pay, there is a lot of criticism. In 2018-19 and in 2019-20, Kiama Council spent 49 cents in the dollar of ratepayers' money on their employee overhead costs, so direct costs of employees. Now, most councils of an equivalent size, that is regional town and regional city councils, only spend on average about 31-32%. We don't know what the figures are for 2021 financial year because we haven't seen the figures come out. They were supposed to come out last month, but they are yet to see the cold hard light of day. So we do need to make sure that we keep downward pressure on rates, and we need to make sure that we have a responsible and effective use of ratepayers' monies that delivers for our community. With regard to lifestyle and livability, what we need to do is to improve those dimensions right across the municipality. We need to invest in activities and amenities that cater to young people, to families, to older residents, to future residents. And we need to make our community an even better place to live, to work and to play. And if we can do that, we'll have a very successful outcome. There's a lot of other things that need to be done too, but you asked me for two, so they would be the two that I would say would be the highest order.
Thanks, Mark. Kiama residents would like to see better engagement and communication between council and the community. How would you improve the transparency of council's actions and engage the community more effectively?
I've been highly critical, it's no secret, I've been highly critical of council's inability to communicate effectively with its stakeholders. In fact, Mark Reeves, you've been in a room with me and the Mayor and the former General Manager on more than one occasion where I have said, you guys are just crap communicators and you need to get your shit together. Now, I can't put it any more blunt than that. So, it's not that I have a strong opinion on this, but I would like to see things change. We need to hide in the open. Council needs to hide in the open. They need to be more transparent in what they do and how they go about it. The citing of privacy over some recent personnel matters, whilst there are elements of privacy that have to be considered and held tight, didn't mean that all the other circumstances surrounding the particular situation needed to be held behind a veil of bureaucracy. Hiding behind a veil of bureaucracy is a weak way to deal with accountability. So we need to make our council more accountable. We need council to innovate in the way that they communicate. When I was on CCAG, I was involved with a number of our fellow members, and we were looking at ways to communicate better with the community. Because just because council publish it once and they think everyone's seen it, doesn't mean anyone's seen it. So, innovation, there's a lot of technology out there. They could even get out there and, go to the markets occasionally and hold a street stall and just be open and engaging and cop the 50 calibre finger in the chest from the residents and the ratepayers. But if they don't do that, they're hiding. What have they got to hide? Why do they need to hide? But they need to get more engaged. Whatever they do, they've got to be better at what they're doing, because what they're doing at the moment just is not good enough.
Thanks, Mark. Are there any other issues that you'd like to raise?
My name's Mark Croxford and I'm asking for your vote.